fear is going to come in when you're playing bigger than you've ever played before. I say if your knees aren't knocking and your teeth aren't chattering just a little at least, then you're not playing big enough.
You want something more. You know you're capable of something more. You'll come up with a great reason why you can't do that something more, but really, you're just afraid.
I want to talk about the power of following your fear.
Rise and shine, it's Entspresso time.
I wake up every morning.
Espresso keep me going.
I wake up every morning.
Hey, it's Carmichael, and this channel was created to help you overcome the #1 challenge that is holding you back, a lack of belief in yourself. You watch these videos because you know there's something more inside you too. You've got Michael Jordan level talent at something. So let's start your day off right together. Grab your coffee and sip on today's message from Lisa Nichols. Also, if you want to have more motivation, check out my 254 series. They're free. The link to join are in the description below.
I believe any behavior that you don't want any longer, the way that the catalyst to change is recognizing the price. You're gonna play ginormous, say ginormous. But first take baby steps. So many people look at fear or even doubt, but they look at fear as if it's the emotional enemy. You know, it's the enemy emotion. Like, oh, I can deal with compassion, I can deal with love, I can deal with understanding. But when fear comes, oh my God, bad thing. No, first of all, change your relationship to fear. I've said this before. Fear is not the enemy. The feeling of fear is just like any other emotion. Fear is actually informing you. Fear is telling you that you need to do something. Either do more research, get some support, get some insight, study a little more, slow down. Fear is actually feeding you. So then ask yourself the question, what do I need to do, think, or go get to dissipate this fear? Because remember, fear becomes present when you've made up something that could happen in the future. And it makes you afraid right now. Like, oh my God, I'm afraid I can get hurt in this relationship. Oh my God, I'm afraid I'm gonna lose my money. You're just projecting a story that you made up. Then back into that fear and go, okay, wait, then what do I need to do to minimize the fear that I might get hurt? What do I need to do to minimize the fear that I might lose my money? What do I need to do? Of course, you can't 100% eliminate the possibility, but you can greatly reduce the chances by asking, what am I afraid of? What am I afraid that's going to happen? And then secondly, recognize that fear doesn't mean stop. People think, oh, I'm afraid, let me stop. Okay, that's a choice to stop. Fear doesn't necessarily mean stop. Fear might mean proceed with caution or proceed with more strategy. Fear doesn't, whenever I'm feeling fear, it doesn't tell me this. I don't even think now to stop with the fear. I do think to slow down, go get some help, go get some insight, voice my fear so that it's not just all in my head. Recognize that fear is going to come in when you're playing bigger than you've ever played before. I say if your knees aren't knocking and your teeth aren't chattering just a little at least, then you're not playing big enough. The bigger you play, the more you're gonna feel your knees knock and you're gonna hear your teeth chatter. And I'm always playing big. I'm always feeling my knees knock and I'm always hearing my teeth chatter. But I've created a relationship with that fear to go, hold on. Let's say fear's right here. Fear, what are you telling me? Because fear really is, it's a story. It's something you think could happen. And could it happen? Yeah. But could it not happen? Yeah. So don't try to outrun fear. Don't try to outrun doubt. And definitely don't wait until doubt and fear are gone before you move. Find out what doubt and fear needs to dissipate into the nothingness that it always was. What does it need? And then understand that action brings clarity. So the more you move forward, the more action you're in, the more clarity you get, because action breeds clarity. And clarity comes with action. So many times you're sitting on the sideline waiting to get completely clear before you take any action. And clarity is waiting for you to get in action to create clarity. So be willing to play full out a little nervous.
Everything that you want out of life is on the other side of your biggest fears. You want something more. You know you're capable of something more. You'll come up with a great reason why you can't do that something more, but really, you're just afraid. If you want a breakthrough, if you want that dream life, you need to change the way you think about fear, or it will handicap you for the rest of your life. So my biggest fear is disappointing people. I'm afraid that whatever I'm gonna do, I might disappoint somebody, and that keeps me playing small. And so whenever I can recognize it, then I have to go all in and do it just to show myself, because it allows you to play on a bigger stage every time. And that big fear you have is still there. It doesn't go away. You're just capable of slaying a bigger dragon each time. So what used to count as disappointing people, or my fear of disappointing people, might have been going to a coffee meeting and helping an entrepreneur. I remember one time super clearly that I was booking a meeting with an entrepreneur, and I was so worried that I was going to disappoint her that I was hoping that she would cancel. And the story I told myself was, I'm too busy, I got all this stuff to do. You know, the realistic reasons that you can convince yourself, right? They weren't stupid reasons, they were realistic. But deep down was, I'm just afraid. I'm afraid that she's going to show up and I'm not going to give her value. It's a deep fear. And then once I went to go meet her, it was amazing. I remember sitting in my car and saying, wow, like an hour and a half ago, I was hoping that she was going to cancel on me, and this is the greatest thing of all time, right? Your biggest fears prevent you from living the life that you want. And so I'm afraid of disappointing people. I'm going on my tour starting next year. If you want to join the tour, there's information in the description below. We're hitting 20 something cities over almost 90 days. Come see me on tour. Please don't let me disappoint people. and I'm afraid. I'm afraid I'm gonna let people down. I'm afraid nobody's gonna show up. We're gonna be streaming live on my YouTube channel for the members for 8 to 12 hours a day. I'm afraid nobody's gonna be there. It's a constant, every time I'm doing something new and outside my comfort zone is a constant battle that I might disappoint people. And so because I'm afraid of that thing, now I have to jump in and do it. Most of the time you can't catch it. I think we play small by default. I think your greatest fear owns you and is giving you tons of logical reasons why you can't do that thing. But whenever you catch it, whenever you do actually catch and say, I think this is just my fear talking, that means it's go time. That means you have to do it just to teach yourself that you're able to conquer it and move to a greater level of success. So how do you actually change your relationship with fear? I'm gonna give you a 3-step process that I think will help. Step number 1 is understand that self-confidence comes from doing scary things. Self-confidence, self-love, self-respect comes from doing scary, difficult things. If you're scared of something, right? Your heart's going boom, boom, boom. You're scared of it. You're worried it's not gonna work out. And you catch it. This is the thing. Again, 95% of the time, you'll never catch it. You'll just subconsciously play small. But in the 5% of the time that you actually catch it, if you go off and do it, even if you don't get a result, just trying, just by doing it, you teach yourself that you're awesome. You teach yourself that you don't play small. It's better not to catch it than to catch it and not do it. If you don't catch it, you just keep living life, right? Ignorance is bliss. But when you catch it, it's like, I think I'm just actually afraid of this thing. That's why I'm not following through. And then you don't do it, you're telling yourself you suck. You're telling yourself you're afraid, and when you're afraid, you don't do it. I want to flip the script. As soon as you catch it, in 5% of the cases, right? You catch it, you have to do it. You have to do it. You have to just go off and do it, because that way you're telling yourself, I'm amazing. I rock. It may not work out, but I'm crushing this fear. Let's go, right? It's a self-signal for self-respect, self-confidence, self-love, all of it comes from doing scary things. You love scary things. You eat scary things for breakfast, because the opposite of doing scary things is doing things that you know how to do, which means you're bored, you're photocopying your life every day, and that's not the life that you want to live. Step number 2 is trust your bold ideas. When you get an idea, trust that it is the right thing for you. When you're feeling bold, and this doesn't happen every day. We don't wake up and say, oh, I'm amazing, happy Thursday, right? It's not how most people wake up. We're tired, we don't have a lot of energy, we're not feeling bold. But you have moments. You have moments in your life where you feel bold, confident, unstoppable. Maybe it was after a meeting, maybe it was after a video, maybe you got inspired, maybe you're on a walk, a meditation. It doesn't matter. You have moments in your life, you know what I'm talking about. You've had moments in your life where you felt inspired, bold. An idea comes to you, it's like, man, if I could do that, it'd be amazing, right? You know what I'm talking about. And then the next day you wake up, say, I can't do that crazy thing. Who am I? I can't do that. I don't have the XYZ, right? The money, connections, time, resources, blah, 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 blah. I can't do that, right? Trust your bold ideas. I believe that the ideas that come to me, that come to you when you're feeling bold, are actually the right ones for you. And then your brain, which is designed to keep you safe and only understands the world that currently exists, your brain starts talking you down from it. And if you wait till the next day, it's over. Then your brain has already taken charge. It's in control again. You're back to being safe, boring, photocopy your life over and over and over again. So trust your bold ideas. When you're feeling bold, an idea comes to you, say, this is right for me. And then take some immediate action towards it. It'll make a huge difference. And then step number 3 is your bucket list is your excuse list. This might be a little more controversial, but I think when people add something to their bucket list, I think it's an excuse list. I think most people die with a bucket list full of ideas. Just because you call it a bucket list doesn't mean it's gonna get done. This is the way you wanna train yourself. As soon as you put something on your bucket list, go do it. Find the smallest possible way and start building it, right? That experience that you want, you could go off and do it and teach yourself that you're the kind of person who comes up with bold ideas and starts immediately taking action. Not in 5 years when I'm XYZ, then I'm gonna do it. That's garbage, that's loser thinking. You might think you're crushing it by having this bucket list of dreams and goals. You're not. You're teaching yourself that you suck. At least I think that. Because you're teaching yourself, you make a list of ideas and then you don't follow through. The best thing, there's a guy who came to my event in Phoenix. He said, well, my goal on my bucket list is I wanna climb Mount Everest. Okay, great, go do it. Even just believing that that's possible in the next year instead of waiting 20 years for that thing to happen, right? Already changes your mindset. You could do it. What do you need? You need money, you need training, you need resources, what? Figure it out. You could figure it out. If that really was so important to you, you could do it in the next year. You could. And if it's not that important to you, why is it on your bucket list in the first place? People die with their bucket list full. Your bucket list is your excuse list. Instead, start making an action list and get to work. Now I have a really special bonus clip that I think you're gonna enjoy, but before that, question of the day, I wanna know, what is your bold idea that you need to trust? Let me know down in the comments below. And if you made it this far in the video, I wanna celebrate you. Give me a hashtag believe down in the comments as well.
You know, it seems like you can't open a book or read a blog post these days without hearing somebody tell you to follow your passion or follow your bliss or follow your heart. And yes, I have said those things too. But today I want to talk about the power of going in what can often feel like the opposite direction. I want to talk about the power of following your fear. I'm not talking about following your very useful fear of big moving vehicles and walking in front of a bus, nor am I talking about doing anything stupid or irresponsible that could ruin you financially. What I am talking about, though, is the power of following good fear, directive fear, the kind of fear that you feel when you have an idea that just won't leave you alone, an idea about doing something that you've always wanted to do, something that's different and bold and kind of risky, where part of you is saying, oh no, I actually couldn't do that. But the deeper, wiser part of you wants this thing so damn bad. And the moment you imagine yourself going for it, you have worries like, will people laugh at me? Will they ignore me? Maybe this isn't even really an idea. What if I do it and it sucks? Am I going to destroy my reputation? Am I going to lose my marriage and my family and wind up living on the streets? My friend Steven Pressfield talks about this kind of fear in The War of Art, and he says, remember our rule of thumb. The more scared we are of a work or calling, the more sure we can be that we have to do it. And he continues, the more fear we feel about a specific enterprise, the more certain we can be that that enterprise is important to us and the growth of our soul.
If you want to know 5 pieces of life-changing advice from monks and gurus, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.